Hi, everyone. This is Michele Graglia.
This is Marianne Hogan.
Hi, I'm Adrian McDonald.
I'm Katie Asmith.
Hi, this is Anthony Gasals.
Hi, my name is Meg Morgan.
Hey, it's Jordan Trove.
This is John Ray.
This is Ryan Van Duzer, and you are listening to the Gotta Run Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, we're back with another Gotta Run podcast.
Hello, hello. What's going on in the world of ultra running, Norm?
Well, big world records were broken again at Tunnel Hill this year. Incredible. In the women's 100-miler for the very first time, Katrina Jennings, who never ran a 100-mile before, takes the world record.
No way.
Yeah, it was a record that was held for about 8 years by Camille Herron, and Katrina beat her time by 5 minutes at a time of 12:37.
Unbelievable.
It is. Can you imagine if they actually ran together in a race and in the 100-miler and in the last kilometer?
Duked it out.
Katrina pulls ahead by 5 minutes because her time was 12:37.
Unbelievable.
And also, I do believe that, you know how every country has their own 100-miler record holder for that country?
Yeah.
For instance, last year, Julie Hamelucki got the Canadian 100-mile record at Tunnel Hill.
Right.
In a time of 13:30.
Wow.
But I do believe that Katrina also now has the Irish record, beating the men's record as well.
No way.
In the 100-miler, yes. So she is the world record and also
Irish record.
Irish record.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a nightmare.
I'll take all this.
All right.
So that's what's happening in the world of ultra running. Okay, who's on the podcast today?
Today we have Tim McDonough and Brian Demings, friends from New Brunswick who've been ultra running for over 10 years now. They really enjoy destination races, from Fat Dog 120 here in Canada to the Tour in Italy, Patagonia 100, of course, in Argentina, Swiss Peaks 360, Monster 300 in Arizona, to name a few. And recently, they just ran the Côte d'Azur 100-miler in Nice, France.
Is it Côte d'Azur?
No, Norm. Don't you know your French? Côte d'Azur.
Okay.
All right. So I'm sure they have all sorts of stories to tell us with all these adventures under their belt. And as you always say, the best way to see a country is to run it.
I do believe in that.
So stick around and let's get to know Tim and Brian and hear all about the fun they're having in the ultra world. One quick note is that we chatted with a friend of theirs, Dawson Mossman, episode 57, when Dawson ran the Western States 100 and UTMB in the same year. So you can check that episode out after you finish listening to this one.
All right, let's hear what Tim and Brian have to say. Here they are, coming up. Welcome to the podcast, Tim and Brian, and congrats on your recent adventure in Nice, France at the Côte d'Azur UTMB. But before we get into that, of course, we just wanted to mention that we actually have met Tim before at the Montreal airport, which was a random encounter after you were with Dawson, who we've interviewed in past episodes. And you guys were doing PTL, and Norm, of course, was doing UTMB, and we shared a beer while we waited for our canceled flights to be rescheduled.
I seem to remember I ate a hamburger too, and you guys took the bill. I was surprised. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, so that means when we come to New Brunswick, it's on you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
How is Dawson doing?
Dawson's good. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So before we dive into Côte d'Azur, we kind of want to split up and see what you each have to say about some races you've experienced apart. But before that, tell us, Brian, how did ultra running become a part of your life?
Interestingly, it was a late night foray onto YouTube. I had been kind of running off and on, and I did this kind of a set distance. And I said, just trying to improve on that distance. And I said, this is super boring, so I'm going to try increasing the duration of my runs. And I got up to, like, one day I was out in the summer, and I was like an 18K run, and I had no food, no water, didn't know what I was doing. On the way back, and I hard bonk, like the worst bonk ever. And I was like literally squatting down the side of the road. And then later that night, I was like, how do people run marathons? Like, I can't even crank out an 18K without falling over. And so I did the obligatory search on YouTube of longest race in the world. And the top two, I think, that came up were Fat Dog 120 and the Bigfoot 200.
Okay.
And there's a gentleman out of Vancouver named Kerry Ward who does a lot of YouTube point of view videos of racing. And I watched his videos until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I have to try this. I have to see what that is like. Is how does somebody keep moving through the world for days and enjoy themselves? And he's like having a great time talking to people, stopping at the aid stations. And I said, I made it my goal to make that happen. And so did my first 50K on the road with a guy on the bike beside me just to say, okay, I can do that. And I didn't fall apart. So, and then the next kind of long race was the Funday Circuit 50K. I think that next year, maybe. Anyways, I did Harricana 125K and then I messaged Heather McDonald, who was the race director of Fat Dog at the time, and said, do you think that I can run 120 miles in the BC mountains with this? And can I use this as a qualifier? And she said, you do understand it's 120 miles. And I said, yeah, will you let me do it? And she said, fine. And I registered and I did not train well. Tim and numerous people around me were saying at the time, what are you doing? Like I was literally running 40K weeks, no vert. Some weeks I'd be like 8K because I was busy doing something else.
Wow.
Got out there and took everything except for 52 minutes at the end. So it took me 48 hours and had a great time, great experience and beautiful memories. And I love wildflowers. So that race is really known for that. Okay, I can do that. So I signed up for Bigfoot the next time opportunity. And that's another race. So you don't need much of a qualifier. If you want to try, go at it. And I love that. And so that's running with wildflowers and mountains is my jam. So, nice. And forests.
You're living on the wrong coast.
We got great forests and great scenery out here. But yes.
I just mean the vert.
Yeah, we've got to do a lot of repeats. There's a few places around that might give you 200 meters. And we'll go out there and 15, 20 repeats in a day. Just keep hammering it home. But the steady downhill, that's my weakness. I think Tim's a little better at it than I am. But I've been in Switzerland and just running downhill for 10K, 900 meters of vert down. Oh my God. Can we please let this end? Because I know I got to go up the other side of that valley and do it again 20 more times or whatever.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
And Tim, tell us about your origin story into ultra running.
Oh, in a nutshell, I've always liked just pushing myself a little bit. And I tree planted years ago in Northern Ontario up in Thunder Bay. And I was the best tree planter because I just wouldn't stop going really, really hard. So, yeah, I got into running and kind of used it to quit smoking, which I really smoked for too long, but I figured how dumb would I be if I didn't actually follow through with this quitting at the same time as I was running. Yeah, and so I just ran. First time I ran 20 minutes without stopping, blew my mind absolutely, and I just kept going longer and having bigger adventures.
The funny thing is, we did a race in Slovenia, and we were climbing a mountain with a guy in the pouring rain, and when we got to the top, he took out a cigarette and started smoking, and he was ahead of us.
He was ahead of us, and I said, if we don't beat that guy, I can never run again.
Yeah. So after that, we ran as hard as we could just to stay in front of him.
I've seen that a few times in Europe as well.
Yeah.
Come across somebody just puffing away at the aid station.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Europe.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a secret to it.
Yeah, there's still lots of people in Europe. I think probably it's enjoyable in moderation, but when it's something that
can hurt your sport,
you're using. Yeah, that's a funny story.
Yeah.
What race was that in Slovenia?
UTVV, Ultra Trail Vipava Valley.
It's a wine country.
You guys have been around.
So have you, which we'll get there.
Yeah, I highly recommend Slovenia, though. They have multiple races. It's a gorgeous country, and it's not overrun by tourism yet.
Yeah.
For sure.
How did you guys meet?
Just the local trail running group. At the time, it was run by like our local sports store. A friend of ours, Mark, has taken over the trail running group and it's kind of exploded.
Does it have a name?
The St. John Trail Running.
Oh, nice.
So they put on a number of races during the year. They finally have enough races that there's a full race series. So there's people that get points and participate.
Nice.
I did all the races this year. There's a 24-hour loop race and takes advantage of some of our trail systems around here.
The communal trail run sessions with the group and then training and then the race quality, the types of races we're choosing. In addition to wildflower and meadows, I want as much vert as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Give me something that I might fail at because otherwise there's got to be some other reason to do it. The stretching and trying to see where you kind of break is an attractor for me. And I think it is for Tim in some ways.
It's even more exciting being out here where there's not mountains. It's like an extra challenge to go somewhere to the Alps. It's just another challenge, and he's been somebody who's been interested in challenging himself in the same ways that I have. Certainly had some bonding moments.
We're going to be going to Argentina this winter, and we've never been there before. So, Tim, tell us about the Patagonia 100 that you did last year.
It was a beautiful area. So Dawson, who you mentioned earlier, me and him were down there. We were actually spending like 10 weeks touring around. We were in Antarctica and Chile, Brazil.
Wow.
All over Patagonia, backpacking. So I showed up having no training block whatsoever and just hiking legs. I don't think we had run in weeks and weeks. And we actually did a bike pack, sent our bags ahead to the town where the race is, and basically got off the bikes and ran the race. And so I had no expectation of doing well. I was top 20.
Wow.
I think it was like 16th place or something in the 100-miler.
Really?
Mostly I stick to the 100-milers. It's not like I wasn't in shape. We had big packs on our backs, and it's interesting down there. There's some serious runners down there, and economically it's not super feasible for those people to travel to North American races, but if you could just teleport anywhere you want, you'd be surprised.
Wow.
There's grandmas with giant packs and they're just walking up a hill, and the hill is 200 or 300 meters to the grocery store.
Yeah, exactly.
It's different.
What was the course like? Was it super technical?
No, not super. I remember being really surprised at how much soil and dirt there was on these massive climbs, and there wasn't a lot of switchbacks, and they all seemed to just be stuck together. So you're going down these very steep switchbacks on really compressed dirt, and if it was muddy, it would be treacherous. But even just having the powder on there, you felt like you were just going to fly down the hill.
Right.
But it was beautiful. You're cresting these peaks and there's volcanoes in the distance, and it just seemed like the hill was never going to stop. So I've been trying to get into hard rock a couple of years now, and when I think about it, it scares me, but then I have to remind myself that I've done things like this race and stuff.
Let's talk about that, because you've both taken on some big races going beyond the 100-milers. So Brian, tell us, what's the appeal of going past 100 miles that you sign up for?
I finished Bigfoot 200, and I think I was in fairly good shape for myself, and I really enjoyed it. And honestly, I said it afterward, and nobody really kind of believed me. I said that's one of the easiest races I've ever done.
Wow.
Because it's a totally different animal. 100-mile, 100K, 50K, not so much 100-mile, but 100K, 50K, you are focused on speed. You're focused on efficiency. You're focused on, let's get this thing done. And it's not that you don't have that impetus in the 200 or 300-mile class races. It's just that you can give yourself time to have a seat and eat and have a nap, and it won't really affect your overall standing as a percentage of the amount of time that you're on feet, unless you're in the top echelons where you're saving multiple single-digit percentages in time. The longer it is, the less impact a 2-hour rest has on the race. So I really like the fact that you are doing these. You're going to this aid station. You can really experience the aid station. The people are there, the aid station staff. You can stop and take a picture. You can admire the view, and there wasn't this feeling of being harried and just kind of something behind you pushing you forward.
Right.
And I mean, I got to the end of Bigfoot and there was 50K left, and I ran the 50K in and finished the race, and I was like, I feel great, and my legs were fine. And so you can do things at a more economical pace that you're able to reduce the impact on your body. So your legs can feel amazing.
Mm.
And if your stomach stays on track, then the race can be a great experience. I like the fact that you are doing that thing. That's the only thing you're doing. You're not thinking about going to get groceries or whatever that's happening outside of the race. And in a 100-miler, you can kind of start to get into that bubble. But the 200s and the 300s and those races, like that's all you're doing. Day 3 comes along and, all right, well, I got to manage my sleep better today because it's another night. And then like that, it's night.
Right.
You've experienced this huge block of time, but it's not as hurried. So, yeah.
Brian, how would you compare the Arizona Monster to the Swiss Peaks? The Swiss Peaks and the Bigfoot, where there's sort of mountain and valley and there's variation. Were you just going over terrain? Did you find the more running to be a challenge?
So I was expecting Bigfoot 200 miles in Washington State around Mount St. Helens. So it's mountainous, but also coastal forest. Swiss Peaks goes through down a valley. And so you're going down the side of a mountain valley, up and down, up and down, up and down. 27,000 meters of vert in Swiss Peaks over 280K.
Oh, I thought Swiss Peaks was 360, 370.
Oh, I'm sorry. 380K. Yeah, right.
So many he forgot.
Man. Most recent one was Arizona Monster, and that was 300 miles. So that's kind of like some of the numbers are skewed in my head. But so Arizona Monster there was some vert, but it's mostly you're running through a desert for days. Very different challenges. The heat and the dryness in Arizona, countless up and downs in Swiss Peaks. And I would say difficulty-wise, Swiss Peaks easily 2-3 times as hard as Bigfoot, full stop.
Right.
There's really no comparison. And Arizona Monster, just a different challenge, was much easier running wise, but took me longer. Took me, I think it was 143 hours for Arizona Monster. I was not shocked, but I was kind of, I should have done it faster than that. But it really came down to dryness and just, you didn't want to go too fast because if you did, you ran out of water. You only had so much water that you could carry. There's no streams. So it was just heat and water management issue. Yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question, Tim, but the runnability, definitely Arizona Monster is more runnable, but you've also got 100 more miles to contend with.
So just getting back to Swiss Peaks for a second, anything interesting happen over the course of the 6 days? Any animal encounters or hallucination or?
You got to run on a glacier, is that right? At Swiss Peaks?
No, we had to do some rerouting because of weather, and I don't think we would have hit that. So Monte Rosa and Swiss Alps both do glaciers. There's always hallucinations, and they take different forms. In Bigfoot, it was the first time I really experienced it. So I was visually running on a trail that was covered in portrait paintings. So picture like the Mona Lisa or some portrait of a president or whatever, but they were in frames, and it wasn't the sides of the trail. It was literally the trail bed that you ran on was wallpapered in portraits. And at one point I came around a corner and I looked and saw a stump, and I said, that kind of looks like a wizard. And it was a wizard. That is a stump. I know it's not a wizard. And I'd look back a few times. And so things like that. And also the time dilation, like losing track of time, happy faces everywhere. So everything becomes a pattern. Everything is a happy face. And even after Bigfoot, Guy probably shouldn't have been driving to a restaurant at that point, but I was. And on the way home, I looked at a tree, a textured surface, and phone numbers and people's names and things because your brain is looking for patterns, always looking for patterns. So it'd see happy faces. So at Swiss Peaks, I was acutely aware that was going to happen. And so as soon as I started feeling that it's a really strange sensation of there's a face right there. If I look at that there it comes. Those rocks kind of look like a face. Oh, it's now a face. As soon as that started to happen, I said, I got to have a nap. That if I go through that stage, it's going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not gonna fix itself. Arizona Monster, I was 100% aware of that, and every time it happened, I'd lay down. The hallucinations are interesting, and I think it's different for each person. They can take different audio, oral sensations, visual disturbances, time dilation, out of bodiness, like you're kind of running behind yourself. And I think they all are. I mean, I'm no neurologist, but I think a lot of it has to do with just breakdown in the executive function. It's like your brain is constantly trying to do the automatic things like pattern matching that it's supposed to do on a regular basis, but there's nothing to govern it. There's the famous Candace Burt cheetah in a hammock or a burning cell phone pile and things like that. Just random things that your visual centers are making up. It's really interesting to experience. But I would say that if you can, you want to keep those things at bay.
I have two things to say about hallucinations. Number one, it's never happened to me, but I would hope that it wouldn't happen when you're running on the edge of a cliff, because God only knows what would happen. That's super dangerous. And number two, I think we should take all the hallucination stories we've had over the episodes and get a psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever, to analyze them, because I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
I've never had any actual figurative, literal imagery, but I've seen lots of creepy shadows following me. You know, you look back and there's this dark cloud, and that's not on the ground; it's floating in the air. And every time I look back, that's just such a bizarre thing.
That happened to me because I was running about 1 or 2 in the morning, and a dark shadow came right towards me and just stopped me cold. And I don't know what it was, but it freaked me out.
Yeah. It's not something you are imagining it, but it's not something you're asking for. It's just sort of.
But it ended up making me finish top 5 in that race, because from that point to the finish line, I did not stop. Okay, let's move on to Tim. You did Tour last year, which is a big event. How was that overall?
It was the most challenging thing that I've ever done. But aside from it being a running race, it just spans so much time. Like Brian said, you sort of have to approach it a little differently. I didn't start the race like that. I started off slow, but then I started treating it like it was a 100-mile race, and I was going too hard, and it wasn't sustainable. At a certain point, I realized I'm only halfway to the end. I need to stop and reevaluate what I'm doing. Just getting it done was such a big accomplishment. Most of the races that I've done, you start off and you kind of know that as soon as you start, you know you have the ability to finish.
Right.
And some things happen to people and it stops them, but that was the first time that I signed up for something not knowing if I was gonna get it done.
And you got it done.
Yeah. Well, how did it feel getting past the 100-mile mark? That's your first time, right? And keep going.
I've ran more than 100 miles before.
Oh, okay. I thought that was your first time.
I attempted to do the East Coast Trail in Newfoundland, and I got 220 kilometers before a number of things happened and derailed the FKT attempt. That was a number of years ago, but...
So first time in a race?
Yeah, first time in a race. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to Côte d'Azur. How often did you guys get to train with each other leading into this race?
We got together a couple times. I was probably less trained for the Nice race than other races in the past. When I went to UTMB and other races that I had sort of been planning to get to for years, I really trained quite seriously. But this was more of a vacation in my mind.
Okay.
And what made you guys decide to choose this race, Tim? Why choose Côte d'Azur?
Well, I've been told from my partner to stop picking races in Quebec. She said, "Why can't we go to Hawaii like when he took me to Hurt to crew you in 2020?" So together we were having a beer one time with Brian's wife, and she said, "Why don't you guys ever pick a race somewhere nice like the Mediterranean?" So I said, "Well, there's a couple races over there," and she said, "Well, pick one and let's go there."
Nice.
That's essentially how that happened.
If you could describe the course, where does it start and where does it end, Tim?
Have you checked out our virtual series yet? We Run the North, celebrating Canada's national parks, features a total of 13 10-kilometer challenges, one for each province and territory. How many national parks can you name? Well, there's Algonquin, and then there's Banff, and then that's it? Anyways, medals that connect, license plate style bibs, and cool swag can be yours. Visit GottaRunRacing.com for more details.
You essentially start in the Alps and the Maritime Alps. So you drive inland, you follow a number of mountain trails through some towns to the sea. So it's a point-to-point race and ends right on the Mediterranean on their waterfront in Nice.
That's nice.
I looked at the profile because when you say you start in the mountains and you end at the sea, I anticipated this lovely
Downhill, the entire.
But it didn't look that so much.
Overall, it was a net downhill, but yeah, we were up above 2,500 meters more than once. It was close to zero. There was a bit of snow on the ground and ice, and I finished almost with heat exhaustion.
Oh.
I felt like it was really hot. It was not 30, but it was high 20s.
This was in September and there was still ice?
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
That's crazy.
It was howling cold wind right from the get-go. As soon as I was getting ready to, it was the first time I started a race with a jacket on that I can remember. I'm usually getting ready to go.
Brian, tell us about the vibe of the start line. And did you guys decide to run together, or was it every man for himself?
Yeah, so I think in a lot of ways, Tim and I have a similar philosophy with respect to that. You either have to be all in on running together, or you just run your own race. And if we happen to if there's simpatico between our paces and so on, then great. But I knew that Tim would be pushing harder than I would be, and some of that is just his legs are longer, and so he can just move more efficiently sometimes. But anyway, all joking aside, we were at the start line. It was fairly in typical European fashion, I'll say. There was a lot of announcers and heavy commentation of what's going on and drones and things like that.
Big drum beating like at the start of the UTMB races.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and there was two waves, so we got all amped up, and all of the first 750 runners took off, and then everybody else got into a corral. We haven't ran a UTMB race because there's really none here in Canada, so my index has dropped back down to 0. So we were way in the back. There was 1,300 people on a single track trail ahead of us when we started.
That sounds like UTMB.
They do all of the anthem again and get everybody pumped up again a second time, and then unleash another wave of people, and then it's just pure chaos on the trail.
So yeah, like I said, I was saying you're not trying to push too hard, but you're also trying to get in front of these people, like just trying to get some people behind you, and if they pass you later, amazing. But you just want to settle out to the top of your wave ish, not top, upper half. I would say, so it was, my memory is like, it was chilly. I think that was at 800 meters, that start. And then you go on this, you go up a little bit, going along the road, and then immediately down into a valley. And then you hit the climb. It's typical European Alps climb of just basically straight up the hill. And at the top of that was, I think, the highest point in the race. And that was well above the tree line. It was sideways fog, super, super cold. At that point, you put your rain jacket on and your rain pants and hat and mitts, or at least I did, because I stopped at the aid station as like, I got to get going. I need to eat, but if I stay here, then I will be going to get hypothermic kind of thing. And it was quote air quotes here downhill, but I think it was a net 11,000 meters down, and was it 10,000 or 9,500 up or something like that? There was a differential there, but it didn't really matter at the end of the day. You're going downhill or you're going uphill, and there was some very challenging downhills in that race. I think the first year they ran it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Tim, that Courtney Dauwalter ran it, and they caught her at one of the aid stations And she had just run a section that I'm talking about now. And it was literally, they hacked it out of the side of the hill. There was barely any switchbacks. Like we're talking about 10 feet long and 3-4 meters long, these switchbacks. And it's straight down the hill to a road. And you're just doing that for hours. And then you get to the bottom. People are falling, crashing into trees because you're in the middle of the night. There's leaves, and
I didn't take hours to get down, but I would turn my head on that section, and there was a guy's feet right beside me. It was pretty steep,
yes.
and it was all crumbly dirt forest as well. I think that they wanted to put a course together, and there was a bunch of beautiful trails, and there was kind of like a few sections that they needed to connect them to get all the way from a point to point. So there's very established sections, very, very well maintained, like municipally built sections of trail. And then there's other sections that just are a route through a field on the side of a mountain slope. And
you bushwhack.
Kind of just follow the flags they stuck in there. It was really quite interesting.
What would you say your UTMB experience was then overall?
At Côte d'Azur.
Like for a branded UTMB race.
I think that they really want this to be a big race where it's one of the few that are right in France, and it's like a destination right there in Nice. It was very, very well organized. The trails were such a mix that it's really interesting. You can find sections of it to run really, really hard. If you want climbing, it's got all of it, and you're up high a number of times. I really liked it. I probably would have liked it a little more if I had a bit more time this year to focus specifically on training for this. But I was just trying to do too many things. Me and Brian ran a 24-hour loop race a week before this.
When did you guys separate in the race?
I was going to say, did they run together at all?
Yeah.
We gave each other a high five at the beginning.
First kilometer, I think, wasn't it?
So I know the difference of time was 10 hours. When you crossed the finish line, Tim, were you worried about Brian? Where is he?
No, I wasn't worried about him finishing. So our partners came with us, and they met us about halfway, which is where we were staying in the first. Our Airbnb was halfway through the course. So they could have met us a number of times, and they were there when I got there, and they were there at the end. And first thing I asked about was Brian, and got some sleep, and I knew he'd be back in at some point.
So tell us about your day, Brian. How did it go out there for you?
Yeah, so day and a half. It's a challenging race. I would say that some people have asked me whether or not it would be a good destination race or even a first 100 miler. And I said, I don't think you want that to be your first 100 miler. It was in places, it was not like prancing on the top of roots technical, but more like just unstable, knobby rocks in places. And you'd be running on that for hours kind of thing. But in terms of beauty and seeing they call them the Maritime Alps, seeing that place and going past medieval villages and at elevations, in some places there were old growth trees, like quite big trees. And when I was passing through that, there was a few birds chirping, and it was idyllic. Just a place in the mountains at elevation, air is cool, sun's coming up, giant trees and some birds kind of singing in the trees. And this is amazing to be in this place and experience that in real time, because sometimes you don't really pay attention.
Right.
And I remember, I think after that point, when I got to that aid station, there was a significant portion of road of the race course that was on paved road. And yeah, at that point, I was started to convert into okay, let's crank this out. Let's get it done. Let's move past this. So I started to be a little bit more hopeful in my finish time, but it became clear that I wasn't going to, I think I was trying to hit around, I think I said 30 hours, wasn't it, Tim? I was trying to hit around there plus 2 or 3 hours slack, and I didn't make that, but regardless. I never, maybe it's folly, but I never have any worries about me finishing a race. I always want to be able to do it in a way that is a good experience. And so I will slow down if I'm not having a good experience.
Right.
And so sometimes that lengthens it out, but at the end of the day, I think it's worth it, especially if I happen to be hanging with anybody. I found that in terms of the social aspect of the race, for me, a Bigfoot or a North American race or even Swiss Peaks, there were a lot of social elements where I would come across these people and they would keep flip-flopping back and forth, and you would talk to them and you'd know what they did for a living kind of thing. And especially at a North American race where it's a guy from Utah or a guy from Canmore or whoever he's from, or woman, and you learn something about them. This race, I felt alone because there was a bunch of fast French runners, and some of them didn't speak a lick of English, and I'm trying my grade 9 in French to communicate with them and have a meaningful dialogue. And, you're friendly, but they're just competitors. Yeah. So I would say I'm really, after that race, I'm kind of keen to try a race where you make the decision, like I said before, where you are going to hang with somebody else, or it's a race where you have no choice because you're a party of 2 or 3 and you got to be inside of each other or else you're disqualified kind of thing. I think that would be an interesting experience because it's so many times out there on the trail, you're having a great time and you stop and think, I'm going to take this picture, but I wish there was somebody else here to see this the way I'm seeing it now. And it's kind of, it brings a tear to your eye at the time kind of thing because you're like, this is super beautiful and I can't share it. It's just in my head. And lots of opportunities in that race to see very grand landscapes, mountains for days, great technical and also runnable terrain, sections where you get speed, where you have alpine terrain and you're gradually going toward the sea. So that's kind of a draw. You start seeing Nice 10 hours out or something like that from the end. I don't know if it's 10 hours, but a goodly sum of hours. And that's interesting. And you always feel like you're going downhill, even if you're not. But anyway,
I know that feeling.
What's the parameters when you guys choose a race? What do you look for?
Most of the time, I've just gone to races with other people. That's a factor. There's only a few races that I've gone to that I've went to completely by myself. So I'm always trying to convince somebody to come to a race with me, or I think I find it a bit comforting because they all scare me. Even this race, Tour, I was shaking on the start line. Even this, I was very, very nervous, and I always am until it just starts. And that might surprise some people to hear because it's not about finishing, it's putting yourself through something. And I often push myself a bit harder than most people. So like I'm running. Tour was the first time that I actually just stopped and looked at a vista in the middle of a race. Brian was talking about taking a picture, but picking a race, usually somewhere new. I often don't want to do the same race over again.
I guess you pick at different countries too. You want to see a different vibe or never been there before. Yeah. Good stuff.
Well, speaking of races, we can't let you guys go without telling us the races that we need to do when we come to New Brunswick. I've never been to New Brunswick. So hit me up. What do we need to do? Any ideas?
There's a lot of races out east here. Some are in New Brunswick, some are in Nova Scotia. If I'm picking any, I would probably say the Chigi Ultra. That's in the fall. That's in Cape Chignecto. And so that's a 50-kilometer kind of loop, and there's a good section. 2/3 of it is coastal, so you do 1, 2, or 3 loops. And if you can't finish one of your loops, you don't get a DNF. They give you a finish for the loop that you did. So
nice.
They don't shoot you on sight?
You're out of here.
No, it's very family friendly. Mom and pop sort of thing. It's the Wentworth Valley Trail Runners. And
all right, Brian, you got an idea for us?
So the races that I like in the area are actually on the shorter side, like 16, 20K races. And the reason I like them is because they're super social. There's one that has it's called the Herring Run. It's in Mascarene, New Brunswick. It's the kind of race where you gotta get on, register within the first hour, or else you don't get to go. And they've got a buffet dinner at the end, great salads and things like that. And you're all hanging out and just talking with fellow runners from New Brunswick and some from Nova Scotia as well about your other adventures and about that day. What's the longest race we have in aside from that, there's a 24-hour race in the area that's looped, just as many loops as you can, which a few people or one person has gotten 100 miles out of it. But there aren't any 100-milers that I can think of, unless I'm...
Capes 100.
I was going to say Capes. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that
Nova
the first
Scotia.
year.
Oh, I meant in New Brunswick itself. So yeah, but you're right. Yeah. But there's a few in Newfoundland as well, which is part of the Atlantic provinces. So
Nice. Okay.
If you're asking about New Brunswick, got to shout out St. John Trail Running. Mark McColgan here in St. John puts on probably 5 or 6 different world-class events every single time, well attended.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, that would be the first place we would start.
Sure thing. Well, big congrats on all your adventures. And what's the plan for next year? Any bucket list races happening next year for you guys? Brian?
We got to make it through Mary Statesmas first, which is the Western States and the Hard Rock Lotteries. I'm going to be cynical for a moment. And once we haven't gotten into those, then we'll make decisions. But we have a short list of races. There's talk about doing Fat Dog 120 as a group race.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of people go out and run that in August next year. There's also one which is a new Hard Rock qualifier, but in the last year, Crazy Mountain in Montana is on my radar. It's supposed to be, it's right up my alley. It's hard, mostly point-to-point mountain with butterflies and flowers kind of run. And I know I'm forgetting a few. There's always in the back of your head of, should I register for Crossing Switzerland, which is another 200-miler in Switzerland, or something like that. But I think it's going to be more of a 100-miler kind of year, unless Destination Trail comes up with another 200-miler in Colorado.
What about a Divide 200-miler here in Canada? The Divide. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Your name's all over it.
So the Divide 200, I looked at it and I said, this is a great race. I registered, and I think Tim and I both got in the first year. And I looked at it and said, that's an awful lot of road. And also, it's the kind of race that I'd be happy to run in a year to kind of just fill out the year. Because the race, I know I can do it. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to get to. But in terms of going to a far off country, you kind of take the top of your bucket in your bucket list, and the bucket never really goes empty, but you got to cherry pick very carefully. So those are the things I've been thinking about.
What about you, Tim?
Like Brian said, see how the lotteries go. I'd love to do Western States. I've got 64 tickets in now, and
so a few more years then.
Yeah, it feels like that.
The number of applicants keeps going up, and it's
Well, we'll be watching, and hopefully we hear more Canadian names this year than we did last year. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I usually have a bit of a plan that if my name doesn't get drawn, I'm ready to sign up for something, and I can convince 1 or 2 people to sign up for something. I think I want to try something a little different. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a big FKT attempt or do a stage race or something. I don't know. I'm not getting tired of the 100-milers. I'll probably do 1 or 2. I did 3 this year, and it's probably just not the challenge I'm looking for anymore. I just want to do something not bigger, just a little more, something else unique. But going away to do any sort of race with a couple guys or girls is where it's at. It's always a good time.
Awesome.
Very good.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, we like to end with some rapid fire questions. So we'll narrow it down so that we don't keep you too long. All right, Tim, name a TV show that you're embarrassed to say you watch.
Currently, Star Trek, I guess.
That's not embarrassing. That's religion.
There's nothing embarrassing with that.
That's embarrassing? Next.
I just didn't want to hum and haw too long. I just threw something out.
There's no reality shows? No Housewives? Housewives in New Brunswick?
I don't have cable.
Yeah. Housewives of Moncton.
All right, Brian, come on. What do you got?
Come on.
Recently, not so much, but there was a time when I was watching The OC and
that qualifies.
Shows like that.
That qualifies.
Good.
That's like a teen drama, right?
Teenagers in California running around.
Sounds good.
All right. Favorite ice cream flavor, Tim?
The one that's got the chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Neapolitan.
Neapolitan. That's a throwback.
Yeah.
And let me guess, the chocolate goes first?
No, I would just like go right across the whole thing.
Oh, you're equal opportunity. I like it.
Oh, wow.
I also
Okay.
like the mint chocolate one's pretty good.
Brian?
Vanilla is the finest of all flavors.
Wow.
Vanilla?
Wow.
Oh my goodness
Do you at
gracious.
least put maple syrup on top, please?
That destroys the taste of the vanilla.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
wow. You just offended so many Canadians right now.
Destroy. Whoa.
I'm being heavily sarcastic, but I do enjoy vanilla.
I'm afraid to ask the butter tart question. It might end up with a hang up.
Good.
Butter tarts with or without raisins, Tim.
As long as it's homemade, if something's warm from a maritime kitchen, I'm leaning towards no raisins.
Thank you.
Okay. Brian, here's your chance to redeem yourself.
Dun dun dun. No raisins.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm done.
The texture doesn't fit.
Why are you guys so obsessed with butter tarts? Is this just
It just became a thing because he likes it without, I like it with.
And that's the Sulphur Springs theme.
And it's just something we started at Sulphur Springs and we've just been carrying it on because it really divides people. And it's one of the few Canadian only desserts in the world. People outside of Canada have no idea what it is.
No, Americans have no idea what it is.
So it just became our thing.
we don't get so feisty about baked goods out east here, I don't think.
Moose Jaw had a bakery that we would show up and I would buy like 36 egg tarts, like your butter tarts. Egg tarts is more typically a Nova Scotian way of saying butter tarts.
Egg tart.
Isn't that the Portuguese?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it?
a custard.
Custard, yeah.
Interesting.
Egg tart.
Norm.
Final question. Tim, pick a superpower that you would like to have.
Oh, teleportation.
Very nice.
I wouldn't use it to cheat in a race. I would just get to races all over the place. Teleportation.
Good one.
Ryan.
I'm honestly stumped. I was going to say instant recall, and I was like, there's probably best I don't remember some parts of these races. No sleep. There it is. No sleep, but remain mentally acute.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Have mental acuity is what I mean.
Very good.
A lot of people pick ones that are good for ultras.
For races, yeah. Yeah, because they just finished the race and they wish they had this power.
Exactly. All right, guys. Thanks again. It was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed yourselves.
Yeah, that was great.
Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for reaching out.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We'll let you go.
Well, we hope to see you guys.
In person in New Brunswick.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll come out this summer.
Been meaning to.
Thank you very much, guys, for your efforts getting this to happen and for inviting us along.
Thank
I'll buy you a beer.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And that was Tim and Brian from New Brunswick. Sounds like they had a great time in France.
Yeah, they do love their destination races. Lots of stories. I think they're mixing their races up because there's so many of them that they go, yeah, this was, oh, wait, was that there or was that there? That happens to us now.
Yeah, it does. They're all starting to blur in.
It's like they're not too sure which one that was.
And I think I'm onto something about the hallucinations. Do you think we should have them evaluated?
Oh my God.
Brian's were pretty detailed. With the portraits lining the trail, that's wild.
I know. Well, a lot of people do mention their hallucinations on social media, and you think about it going, really? Would I see something like that? I don't think.
I want to know what I will see, so I guess I better do one of these damn things.
Yeah. You keep going until you start freaking out.
Until I start freaking out. Jeez, like I said, though, I'd be terrified of walking off a cliff. Holy.
But the cliff is not there.
It's not.
The cliff is not there. That's the thing.
Okay, then this has to be in a flat, forested,
Yeah.
safe, no rocks, nothing.
Now, if any of the races that we did mention, we had a few of them, anything that piqued your interest?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Nope.
Come on. Oh, not the 100-miler, but maybe the Patagonia 50K?
Oh, yeah, there's probably not a 50K there. I think hiking is in order in Argentina, not racing. I think it's a hiking place.
Well, our races end up being hikes. So what are you talking about? You just have to hike faster.
Okay, Norm. Let's start planning.
But I do like this idea of Nice. It sounded like a bit of a tough course, and they're still trying to figure things out. The Côte d'Azur, I like the idea of starting high and finishing right by the sea in Nice.
I do too, but I need more of a negative. Net negative.
So you want no ups?
I want it to start high and just go down. I don't need the in-between climbs.
Okay.
Let's find one of those.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Start searching.
Gotcha.
Because we got no plans next year.
Okay.
And we keep saying this over and over again, guys, about please leave a rating review. It does make a difference. I checked our last rating and review was, and it was over a year and a half ago.
What?
I know. Of all the people we talk to and all the people that listen, please give us a shout out. It goes a long way.
And we read them.
We do read them. We like to read them.
All right. That's it for now.
Until next time.
Cheers.
Bye.